Hello, everybody. Today we are going to work through an activity, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do that activity so that you guys can do it at home. So today we are in week 13, so I'm going to click into week 13. Today is the 18th or the 19th, so I'm going to click into the 1819 folder. And in this folder, you should see one yellow folder that says Building Opposite Adjacent Tables. You might have some different numbers than what Drew has here, but it won't matter for how we're going to build the triangles that we're going to be building today. We're going to be building some similar triangles, and so that is kind of the activity, and I wanted to show you how to do this. We are going to build them in GeoGebra. So I'm going to click into the activity, and you will see that the top page here is the activity itself. There is a spreadsheet that you're going to fill in your results into, and then you're going to have some practice to do after you are done. And so this is the activity that we are going to do today. And so I will start by clicking into the activity itself. Now, in this activity, like I said, we are going to be building right triangles. We're going to be building similar right triangles. All right. And so we will create right triangles with the acute angle measures given. And so these angle measures that are given here are 65, 70, 75, 80, and 85. You may have these angles. You may have different angles than what I've got here, but it won't matter for the whole scheme of things. You will just build with your angles given. All right, so we are going to go into GeoGebra, and I'm going to click over to GeoGebra, and you'll see that I am in GeoGebra geometry, but I want to be in GeoGebra Classic. So you just click on the little waffle up here and go to GeoGebra Classic, and that is the one that I want to use. I want it to, because this one has all the geometry tools that we need. So I needed these tools across the top. So if you don't have these tools across the top, you need to get to GeoGebra Classic so you can use them. All right, so let's go to what we are going to build. And so we are going to start by using the segment tool, it looks like this, to draw a base segment of any length. So I'm going to click over here, go to my segment tool, which is right there, and I'm going to click on that, and then build a segment of any length that I would like. Now, I don't like my placement on here, so I'm going to actually use the arrow. If you click on the arrow, it becomes a move tool, and I can move this shape, move this around to however I want. So I got the window looking like this, and I'm kind of happy with that. So I'm going to leave it here. Now it's telling me that that length is 7.34. That's not anything I need to know right now, but that's the length I chose. All right, great. So I did the first step one. I drew a segment of any length. Second step is to use the angle of a given size tool and create a right angle. And so at one of the endpoints. All right, so I'm going to create a right angle. And so how I do that is go to my angle of a given size tool, and I'm going to click on that. And then I click from endpoint to endpoint. And it should then prompt me to pick the angle of the size that I would like. Well, I want a 90-degree angle. I want it to go I want it to go clockwise because I don't want it below. So I'm going to click on it and go clockwise. And so then you can see that a 90-degree angle was put in there. And these guys are kind of overlapping. So I'm going to use the arrow tool to move things around. Oop, I did not want to move that there. Oh, well, that's fine. It changed my side length a little bit, but I was just trying to move the B so it's better to be seen. But you will notice that as I scrolled out a little bit, that this point A prime is up there. And that A prime is actually the point that would make a 90-degree angle to AB here. All right. And so with that happening, then I can go ahead and move to my next step. My next step is using the line tool. I'm going to draw a line through the new point, the A prime, and the endpoint that I've been given. So I'm going to go over here, not a segment. I want a line. I don't want the segment because I need the line to extend. So I'm going to go from B to A prime. And now I have this line that continues on forever and ever outside of my shape. Great. With that happening, then I've done that step. And then so now I'm on to step 4. Using the angle of a given size tool on the other endpoint, I want the to create a new angle that has the acute angle that I've been given. And so the acute angle that I've been given is 65 degrees. And so I am going to make a 65-degree angle over at point A. So I'm going to go to my give angle of a given size again. I click from B to A, and this time it is counterclockwise, so I can just leave it as it is. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and you'll see that B prime ends up right there. And so from A to B prime, that's my 65-degree angle. And so I'm just moving that so I can see it. And so now I'm going to see what my next step is. I've got my 65-degree angle made. And so then it says using the line tool, draw a line to create your acute angle. So I'm going to use the line tool. So I'm going to click from A to B prime. And now I have to kind of zoom out. So make sure I grab my move tool and zoom out, and I can see a point of intersection up here of where my acute angle runs into my line. And so you can see that I needed to make sure that I use lines, not segments, so that I could find this point of intersection. All right. Now, if I don't need these A prime and B prime anymore. They're just kind of in the way. So if I right click on them, this is just a kind of a side note, I can hide object by checking that off, and you can see that those guys go away. They just to clear some clutter. That's all I'm really doing there. And so now now I'm going to move on to step 6. Using the point tool, place a point at the intersection of the 90-degree and the acute angle that you just made. So I need to put a point up here. And so I'm going to go over to my point tool, pick my point, and put a point right there. And they should label it angle C. Or side C, angle C. So now I've got A, B, and C. That's my acute triangle that I have. And so that is what I was trying to build, and my angle is 65 degrees. So I've built my triangle, yay. And so let's move forward on that. And so now it says, using the measurement tool that looks like this, measure the lengths of the opposite side and the adjacent side to 5 decimal places. Well, here is my 65-degree angles. It says 35, but there's my 65. That's the one I made. And I want the side opposite it and the side adjacent to it. All right, great. So if that's the case, then I don't want the hypotenuse. So I'm going to go measure those two sides on my triangle. Well, I'm going to go back to my triangle. Side opposite is this side over here. Side adjacent is this piece across the bottom. So I'm going to go to my measurement tool, which is found under this angle symbol. You can see the distance or length tool. And so what I have to do, if I want to measure the distance or length, I have to click from A to B between the two endpoints. And it tells me 7.52, which I did earlier. And then from B to C, and I don't even have to go pick the tool again, because it already has it. It stays on that until I pick something else. And that's why you got to kind of go click on the movement tool in order to make things move. But I didn't follow directions because look, it's only giving me to 2 decimal places. So I need to go back and check and make sure that they want it measured to 5 decimal places. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I need to change these numbers to 5 decimal places. But since I didn't measure them, I can't do that. Well, I can. And so here's how I'm going to do it. I go up to this little cog tool, and if that's not there, I click on this little triangle and lines, and the little cog tool appears. So I click on that, and then I'm going to click on the cog tool one more time, and it shows me this drop-down menu of rounding to how many places. Well, I want to round to 5 places. And so now you can see the numbers changed to 5 decimal places. Great. So if I just X out of that, now I've got my 5 decimal places that I need. Okay, so then what am I going to do with these guys rounded to 5 decimal places? Well, let me go back to my directions here. And it says using a calculator to divide the opposite side by the adjacent side, use 4 decimal places and type your results in the spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to divide opposite by adjacent. So let me go back. I've got my calculator right here, so I can just type into it. I want my side opposite, which is BC, and my adjacent, which is AB. So I'm going to divide those two numbers, opposite divided by adjacent. My opposite side divided by my adjacent. And I'm using all my decimal places. And when I hit enter, it says that it is 2.14451. So I'm going to use those decimal places and I'm going to put them into my spreadsheet because that's what it told me to do. So now I got to go back up here and go back to my spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on my table here, click on my folder, and then go to my opposite adjacent spreadsheet. And in my opposite adjacent spreadsheet, I was dealing with 65, and I'll just pick one of the columns that is free, and all of them are free because this is the first time it's been done. I'm going to go to the 65 and type in that decimal of the opposite divided by adjacent. And looking at this, oops, wrong one, it is 2.14451. And so that is what I'm going to type in here, 2.14445, and if I could put the 1 in if I want, it's not going to really matter, but that is what I'm going to do. And so I will fill in all of my answers for 65 through 85 in the yellow column if I was going to continue on. All right, and so you'll just pick an open column and you'll fill in your angles in the column, and then we'll have what's happening with all of these angles throughout the whole thing. All right. Make sure you ask your teacher if you have questions, and thank you for watching this video.